Coco?
But I got out a sword and I only have wings. Anyway, I don't even have a sword.
Good point. Oh well, we can be on the same side then. You pray and help me fight.
Who are you going to fight?
Look, a baddie! Quick, Coco, pray for me that I win.
Praise God. Give Katie much to win this fight.
Yes, got him. Oh, another one. Quick, help me, Coco.
Kids, I think I need help praying. God, Katie's in a battle. Don't let her go down. Let's go.
Yeah, yes. Ooh, I won. Thanks, Coco. Thanks, kids. Thanks, God.
Hey, Katie.
Yeah?
Was one of your friends a warrior?
Oh, you're getting too smart. You know that, Coco?
That's awesome. I've always wanted to be a warrior. Take that.
Whoa, I see you're ready for the battlefield. I mean, story time.
Come and play with Katie and Coco. That's the way. Get ready, let's go. Flying through the air with Coco, telling stories with Katie. You and I together, meeting my friends that help us every day. Katie and Coco, play and sing, pray and bring. You and I, we do our thing as Katie and Coco.
Strong, brave, tough, scared, valiant. That's what makes a good warrior, Katie.
That sounds like a pretty good warrior to me.
Was your friend like that?
She was all of those things and more.
Wait, did you say she, your warrior friend, was a girl?
That's right.
Cool. That's even more Coco amazing than I thought. What's her name?
Saint Joan of Arc.
Yep. That sounds like a warrior's name. How did she become a warrior, though?
She was called by God to save her country, France, from the English. And to do that, she needed to lead the French army to victory.
Did she succeed?
Yes, but there were many challenges she had to overcome first.
I saw that coming. She wouldn't be one of your special friends if she wouldn't have any challenges, but God was helping her though. Challenges, wasn't she?
He never left her, Coco. And neither did her special friends, Saint Michael the Archangel, Saint Catherine, and Saint Margaret, who spoke with her and told her what God wanted from her.
Wow, really? Was it them who taught her to say French from English?
Yep. As well as to lead the Prince of France, known as the Dauphin, to a city called Rennes, so he could be crowned king.
Right. That doesn't sound difficult at all.
Oh, not at all, Coco. Especially for a 16-year-old peasant girl who had never left her hometown.
Oh no! A peasant girl? God thinking God. How did she get anyone to listen to her?
With patience, prayer, and trust in God. To get permission to go to the royal court to see the Dauphin, she ended up having to predict a certain victory in a far-off battle that was going on just to convince her local commander that she really was hearing voices sent by God.
Yeah, they must have thought she was coconuts at first, but God showed them that he was on her side.
He did indeed. And when Joan finally arrived at the royal court, now dressed in armor like a knight, God made sure that she was taken seriously.
What did he do during this time?
Well, before Joan entered the throne room, the Dauphin decided to play a little trick just to make sure that he could trust her. He switched places with his advisor to try to confuse her, but when Joan came in and saw the advisor dressed as the Dauphin sitting on the throne, she knew that it was not the Dauphin. Instead, she looked through the crowd of courtiers until she finally caught sight of the Dauphin, dressed as his advisor. And she knew that it was him, even though she had never seen him before or knew what he looked like. She walked straight up to him and bowed, letting him know that she had not been fooled by his prank.
Wow, was it Joanne's friend and everyone who told her who wasn't the real Dauphin was?
You're catching on fast, Coco.
But what did Joanne do now that she was the Dauphin?
It took some convincing, but Joan was finally granted permission to lead an army to the city of Orléans, where the English had overtaken it, in order to reclaim it for France.
Did Joan actually fight in the battle then?
Yes, though she preferred to carry her banner rather than her sword, as she didn't want to kill anyone. She even got wounded by an arrow as she led her army forward, but her main focus wasn't on fighting. She only allowed fighting to happen as a last resort. First of all, she sent messengers to the English, imploring them to surrender so that Christians, as both the French and the English were, would not have to fight against other Christians. Sadly, the English refused to surrender. So, in preparation for battle, Joan insisted that every soldier in the French army go to confession and attend Mass before the fight began. Even though many of her men were going to lose their lives in battle, she didn't want any of them to lose their souls.
I'm liking Joanne better and better the more you tell me about her, Katie. The soldiers must have loved having her with them.
Well, not quite. The captains in charge were happy to have her come along as moral support for the army, but they didn't like it one bit when she interfered with their decision-making, which often proved to be very beneficial whenever they gave in to her persistence.
Well, she was being told what to do by God's own saints, Katie. Why didn't the captains want to listen to what she had to say?
Most of them were proud and hated the idea of taking military advice from a young peasant girl, no matter how much God might be talking to her.
Those men were coconuts.
I completely agree, Coco. But luckily, they listened to her enough that they eventually won the battle and drove the English out of Orléans altogether. This was a great victory. Until Joan had arrived, the French had only made one attack on the English, and they had lost. Now, Orléans was in French hands again, and Joan was given permission to lead her army to other cities that the English had overtaken. God granted her victory after victory, until the way into the city of Reims was finally opened and the Dauphin was crowned King of France.
Yay! Coco amazing! Coco amazing! She did it, Katie! Joanne really did it! Was she given a reward?
The Dauphin, now King Charles VII, made Joan and her family members of the French noble class. They were no longer commoners.
What an honor! I bet Joanne was really happy!
She was happy, but worldly glory was not her end goal. Her task of freeing France from the English still had to be completed.
Wait, you mean there were still parts of France that the English had no control of?
Yes, as well as some Frenchmen known as the Burgundians who did not support King Charles. She fought in many more battles, but was eventually captured by the Burgundians and imprisoned by the Duke of Burgundy.
Oh no! Did King Charles try to free her?
King Charles was trying to make a peace treaty with the Burgundians, so he didn't want to make any complications by demanding for her freedom.
What? After all she had done for him, he did nothing? So what happened to her then?
There were many members of the church who were concerned that her so-called voices that she received were either made up by Joan or did not come from God. They also didn't like that she took direct orders from God instead of submitting to the church in everything. So they questioned her for months and months while she was in captivity, trying to make her admit that her voices were not real.
Oh, poor Joanne! How could she admit to that when it wasn't true? Did she convince him in the end? Surely God gave them a sign to make them believe her.
No. Do you kids remember how Jesus was accused by his people and eventually put to death even though he had done nothing wrong? Now the time had come for Joan to share in Jesus' sufferings. When our brave friend still refused to tell them what they wanted Even when they threatened to torture her, she was given over to the English, who condemned her to death of the charge of being an enemy of the church.
No, Katie! How could they do that? What insane friends! How could they kill her?
Many years later, when they investigated her case again, it was agreed that she was innocent. But at the time, there were few who saw the truth.
Feathers and leaves! Did they give her any last chance to defend herself?
Joan, do you believe you are in the state of grace?
So they basically asked her if she thought she was going to go to heaven. But that's tricky. If she said yes, they'll say that she can't really know that for certain. But if she says no, then that would be like admitting that she hadn't been telling the truth at all.
If I am not in the state of grace, may God put me in it. If I am in the state of grace, may God keep me in it.
Joanne was very smart. No wonder they couldn't make her admit that she was lying. Did they still kill her though, Katie?
Yes. God wanted to take her home at last after all her sufferings. She was tied to a pole and burned to death by her cruel enemies. But her soul burned with love for God, and she kept her eyes on the crucifix that she had asked a priest to hold up so she could see Jesus on the cross as she died. And very soon, she saw Jesus himself alive in heaven along with his mother and her beloved friends who had spoken to her throughout her life and helped her through so many difficulties.
Amazing! Joanne is the best warrior ever! I like this. She was a warrior for friends and for God.
Shall we ask her to help us be warriors for God too?
Absolutely!
Dear Saint Joan of Arc, thank you for listening to God and trusting him even in the greatest of challenges. Help us to always remain faithful to what God wants for us and to never be afraid to speak the truth. Please pray for France and for all Christians that we may always love and follow God like you did.
Amen!
Bonjour, bonjour, bonjour.
I like croissants too, especially chocolate croissants. Katie, can we get some?
No, we're in the middle of a show.
Can we pause it?
You can't pause something if you're in the show. You can only pause it if you're watching it.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna pause it right now.
No, Coco, don't press pause. If you press pause, hit pause, we'll get stuck. Wait, what? Who pressed play?
Look, a croissant.
Where did the croissant come from?
And it's got chocolate in it. I don't know, but I think it saved us from being stuck, and now I'm gonna eat it.
That's a nice way of thanking it, by killing it.
Croissants are meant to be eaten, Katie. I'm fulfilling its purpose.
Yeah, well, birds are meant to fly around in the forest, but here you are on TV.
Just tell me the riddle already, Katie.
Okay.
You're just sad that the croissant didn't fall in front of you.
I'm not alive, but I grow. I don't have lungs, but I need air. I don't have a mouth, but water kills me. What am I? Can you think of anything?
Are you mud?
No. Does water kill mud? I think water makes mud grow more because mud is dirt with water.
But you said grow.
But does mud grow?
Yeah, true. You got me, Katie.
Try something else. What is... What? Okay. What? Let's focus on one part of it. The water part of it?
Yeah.
What gets killed by water? So nearly everything needs water, right? But what gets killed by water?
Fire?
Yeah, you're right.
Fire! Ow! Ouch! Fire is hot.
Yes. how about we cool down with some craft?
I didn't know craft cooled you down.
Well, you learn something new every day. Let's go.
Yeah!
Hello, here we are back at craft. Are you excited to be back at craft, Coco?
Yeah, Katie, I'm excited.
Yes, so am I. I hope you kids are excited too because today we're going to be making a banner. I know, because remember how I told you that St. Joan of Arc, when she went into battle, she liked to hold her big banner. And although she did use a sword sometimes, she loved a banner because all the soldiers in the army, when they saw her holding it, they knew they could follow her and she led them to victory. So we're just going to be making a very mini banner. We are going to need a long wooden stick, short, long, a bit of yellow felt, some red felt, and some white felt. I've got a yellow pipe cleaner, a pencil, scissors, stapler, a ruler, and some craft glue. Shall we get started now, Coco?
Yeah, let's get started.
Me too, I can't wait either. My banner is going to be white. Really, you could choose any color you like, but mine's going to be white. And we're just going to see how long we're going to need it because it won't go all along the long side. We just need it to go about halfway. So it's a bit long, so we'll just trim it about there. And we don't need it this long either. We'll shorten it as well. So we'll get a mark with our pencil. I think we'll go about halfway, which is about there. Doesn't need to be perfect. And we'll make it go about this long. We'll make another line there. And we'll get our ruler. And we'll make those more exact. So we can cut along the lines and they'll be straight. So if you trace along a line here, up to that other mark, and then another line upwards, nice and straight, and we can cut along that line. Does it look nice and straight to you, Coco?
Super straight.
Good, I'm glad. As long as I've got Coco's approval, we're all good.
That's so cool.
Let's cut along that line then. There we go. There's our banner shape done. Let's just check how that fits. Oh, perfect. And we can fold that along there. Put our stick in towards the edge. And we're going to fold the edge over just enough. And then to secure it, I'm going to glue it and staple it so it's doubly secure.
Yeah, stick it out, Katie.
Stick that down. And to make it doubly secure, I'm going to get a stapler. Staple one there at the top. Staple down the bottom. There we go, nice and secure. And to keep that from slipping down, that's why I've got this pipe cleaner. So I'm going to put the pipe cleaner around where the bottom is. I'll put it there, so I'll put one part of the pipe cleaner here and one here to make it stop slipping off. So we'll cut this pipe cleaner in half. We'll fold it in half so we know where's the middle. Cut it in half. Then we can twist one around the bottom. Twist it around. We want it nice and tight so this doesn't go slipping as well. And another one on top. There we go. There's the base done. Looks like just a white flag right now, doesn't it? now we're going to decorate it. So there we go. Now what I'm going to do for my decoration is a cross. So I've got this red felt. I'm going to see how big I need it. It's just going to go across the whole thing. I'm going to do a big cross, and that's where I got my ruler. So I'm going to draw a cross shape, make it nice and straight. Arms of the cross. And the bottom of the cross. Then cut that out. Get our scissors, cut it out. There we go. There's a nice cross.
It looks super cool.
How good does that look to you, Coco? Look nice? Yeah, I reckon. Nice red cross that we can stick onto our white banner. We can stick that, I think, a bit to the side. And we can stick that down with some glue. Stick that on the opposite side of the cross. And we can stick that onto the banner. Stick. Pull it down, make sure it's nice and secure. And then, for a bit of extra decoration, we're going to use our yellow. I'm going to put some yellow streams coming out from the side of the cross to remind us of that it's a resurrected cross, that it can be glorious and it can lead us to victory. Okay, so I'm going to draw some rays coming out from each of these corners here. Rays. Now we can cut each of these out with our scissors. Stick each of those down using our glue. How's it looking so far, Coco? Are these yellow bits reminding you of your crest on top of your head?
I love
Now
yellow.
you get to be rays coming out from the cross. How cool is that?
It's looking pretty good.
Maybe leading an army to victory.
Yeah.
Lucky last, a little one. There we go. There is our decoration for our banner all done. Now it's not quite as elaborate and as St. Joan of Arc's banner, but I think it's a nice little simple banner to remind us of the victorious cross.
Yeah.
Isn't it, don't you think, Coco?
Yeah.
There we go,
Stick it
that's
out,
what it looks
Johnny.
like. You can imagine that I have a whole army behind me, and I'm going to lead them to victory. Hey kids, if you'd like extra instructions on how to make your very own victory banner, you can find it at swpals.org. And Coco and I would love to see you making your own banners and leading your armies to victory. Have fun!
Have fun, kids.
Follow me to victory, Coco! Let's go!
St. Joan of Arc. Oh, this is you, Katie.
What do you mean it's just me? Can't I lead you into battle?
Not if we want to win.
Ouch.
Yeah, it really would be ouch if you lead us into battle and we get beaten. I'm too young to die. You were the hero stuff, Katie.
Come on, Coco. It's just a pretend battle. There's not even any real enemy here.
Oh, what? Well, why didn't you say so?
I thought it was pretty obvious since it's literally only you and me here.
What about the kids?
The kids? Do you really think we're gonna fight the kids? You're going coconuts, Coco. I think it's time to go.
Bye, kids. Adios.
That's Spanish, Coco.
The Spanish Coco.
Adieu. See you next time. Let's make our mark like, say, Joan of Arc.
Come and play,
Play with Katie and Coco.
that's the way.
Get ready, let's go.
Flying through the air with Coco.
Telling stories with Katie.
You and I together, meeting my friends. Friends that help us every day.
Katie and Coco.
That help us every day.
Katie and Coco. Play and sing.
Pray and bring you and I, we do our thing. It's Katie and Coco.
My life is a miracle. Every child has a story of God's love to share. Shalom world, tune into God's love story.